Hello, and you're very welcome here tonight for our county final preview, which takes place in O'Kennedy Park next Saturday, 5th October at 4 p.m. And it's St Martin's v Glenbarntown, a new parent this year. First time these will actually meet in the final, so we just have a few of the girls tonight. So I'll just introduce. We have Karen Tompkins, Emma Tompkins, Ciara Donoghue, Anya Lacey, Una Lacey, and Ciara Story. So we're just going to go in, we're going to have a bit of a discussion about the match, and hopefully we'll see where the final will be won and lost. So we'll just start back, we'll look back at the semi-finals. The first semi-final was Glenbarntown versus Owler Balloch, and Glenbarntown came out on top by 212 to 11 points. So girls, what do you think? Where do you think the match was won and lost that day?
So I suppose probably on the day I'm going to say Glen were probably definitely better than us. I do think that a lot had to do with, I think maybe for us we're kind of more used to like a kind of freer kind of flowing game. We're more kind of hurlers than runners. Maybe that's to do with the age kind of that we have on our team. I think maybe with our match there was a lot of stopping and starting. I suppose there was a lot of frees. There was just loads of frees, I think, for both. I'm going to say both sides, maybe one more than the other. I think in the first half, like even for either side, I think the 8 points that Glen got were 8 frees, and then I think 2 of ours were frees as well, and it was only 8-4 at half time, so it wasn't like a free flowing kind of game. I don't think there was many goal chances on either side, even in the first nor really the second half either. I think kind of when Glen got theirs, like they took them. Yeah, and I just think on the day Glen, like they really worked hard together. I suppose there was it was the frees, like a lot, not much was scored from play on either side. So I'd kind of be thinking kind of for the final, hopefully it'll be like more free flowing, there'll be a lot more hurling, and maybe then it'll kind of maybe turn out to be kind of a really good final then, yeah.
You went down on that, Una?
I suppose when you think back on the day that Glenbarntown probably were more hungry, they were, their work rate was a lot more than ours. Like we didn't perform on the day to what we wanted to perform, and like maybe in fairness to Glen, that was down to Glen and them wanting it and working hard all over the field. And I suppose like we be kind of wanting to, as Ciara said, like a bit of free flowing, and like there was a lot of stop starting, which like it didn't suit us, and I suppose it didn't suit the spectators either, that they weren't able to watch a match because it was stop start. But we have to get over that, and like on the day Glenbarntown were the better team and they wanted it more.
And then Chloe Cash is not going to be frees really.
Yeah.
Like if you're going to be giving away frees, Chloe's going to score them, and sure, like they're able to punish it like that. And even in the final, like she's going to score if it's scoreable from kind of midfield in. She's going to get him, like, and it's such an asset, I suppose, to have a good free taker like that on your team that is able to convert everything for you too.
In fairness, she has been in top form all year. A lot of Glenbarntown scores do come from Chloe, and if she's on song, again, come Saturday, she will have a big part to play in it. But going back to Glen, they probably have been coming over the last few years, betting the final 2 years ago. And then the year before that, they lost out to the Martins in the final, or in the semi-final, and then they bet Martins last year in the semi-final again. So they have been coming on, so to getting there.
Yeah, no, and I agree with that. But I suppose I think the teams in Wexford, I think they're all teams are kind of catching up. They're nearly on a level par. Like the quarterfinals. Like I know in our group, like we would have played, I think it was Ratnure and who was Buffers Alley and the Martins.
We didn't play Ratnure, we played
Ratnure.
In the quarterfinal, yeah.
Yeah, but I'm just saying in the quarterfinal, if you look at the score lines,
all the quarterfinals
they're all very, like no one run by a cricket score. So that just shows like, Buffers Alley are up this year, Islegate are, only up a few years, and like there's nothing between any of the teams. So it's kind of, the work rate and hunger that's at the end of the day getting the wins for teams.
I think with Glen as well, like there's a good few of the girls are in with Wexford, like I think that they've been training a lot, like Roisin Cooney like played very well the other day, she was flying, and I think their confidence is really after growing. And as well like Laura and Emma as well are really kind of after going really well, and even then there's girls in with the intermediate team as well from Glen, so you can really see it kind of coming together for them. And as well they love running, don't they? Love running.
Yeah.
You don't like that?
Yeah, they're a very young team actually, and in fairness they're all very fit girls, and I think when you go through it, there's most of them either with county football or county camogie. Most of them have been involved, whether it be an adult or a minor. I think looking at the programme from the semi-final, I think everyone has played for Wexford at some stage or another. So that's look, they're thereabouts for the last few years. And look, they might be able to go one step further this year. Then on to youth played the Martins. I seen that game. He was very unlucky, and then probably a few frees missed. Close to the end, you could have got there.
Yeah, but sure, looking back, like being honest, sure, we didn't score from play either. Like, so it's going to be very hard to win a match without score from play. But yeah, like we were, as you said, like we could have drew the match in the end too. But the Martins, like, to be fair, you'd know they're all playing together too for so long, like, and like even in the middle there at times, like they were playing it around you nearly, like they were playing it short, but then they do have the option of going inside of a fairly dangerous full forward line. So to have if they can get the balance right of, playing it around outside and then letting it in, like it's very hard to mark. If you're a half back line, it's very hard to say, oh, I'll sit in and help the fellow back line, but if they're able to play it around in the middle, like you're kind of caught in between two. So like it's great, like, because I like even playing that match, like it was hard because there was so much movement for us to manage, like, wasn't it, with Linda and Chloe and all, they were moving. There was 5 of them in the middle. They weren't either half forward or midfield, like, and they were just kept moving around, and it is hard to
they were dragging so they want the space inside, like Emma Codd is so dangerous, so fast, so like they drag their wing forwards out to create that space for the likes of Emma and Linda Bulger. I suppose no one would have thought that, like, there would have been 2 points between the Ibars and the Martins in the semi-final, but like, look, on paper the Martins are definitely, there's more camogie players there compared to our team, but typical Ibars, like, will dog it, and we stop the Martins from hurling, basically, from running around. But I do think if Glyn need to not let that space in the inside, because Emma and Linda and Letty will just like run riot. So like if Glyn can stop that, if Lord MC and them can stop that space, they'll definitely put up to the Martins.
Now, Ciara Connor, like, is a massive loss for the Martins. Like, she's probably one of the best players in Wexford. So I can, like, Glyn are definitely like saying this is our year, like, because they were so close last year, and they're like with him, like, so they would see this as an opening for him, like, but like if we go through the programme from that day, like the Martins, they have so much talent, like, it's every player on the team have either played county or been underage county, like, and like you can't beat playing county, like, it's experience that, like, you can do whatever you want with the club, but it is a different level, like.
Yeah, no, when you go down through their team here, just looking at it, I think over the last 2 years, 1 to probably 20 have been involved either with the other team or the minor team. Even when you go down further, they've all been nearly there. So that is great experience. Of the Wexford minors have got to Leinster finals, they've been competing in All Irelands, and again with the intermediate and senior setups, they have been there, so they've had a good number there. And
I think that's what probably got them over the line against us too, like the experience, the players all on it, whereas the Ibers, there's a lot of young ones there, it's their first semi-final, we haven't been in 6 years, so they weren't used to the big day, whereas the Martins are well used to the big occasions on the day.
Girl Jews has played both when they were in your group. He has actually put up to, he probably could have bet the Martins down there that day. He's got a few goals, came back, they just pulled ahead in the last few minutes, and then the Glenbarntown game probably warned us that they racked up big score again. We're missing a few that day, maybe just weren't the same game. But what way do you think? What was the harder game, or where do you think?
I would say definitely we played Glyn in the very first game. We were missing a few players now, in fairness, but I'd say they probably could have been as well. But it's kind of hard to judge on the very first game because teams kind of start getting going after that. But from the minute that ball was thrown in, Glyn were up for that match. Like, it didn't matter if it was a final, semi-final, first round, doesn't matter. they were well up for it and they were running down through the centre every single time. I would say that we were probably with them up until half time, and then they just started pulling. They kicked on from there, and we couldn't get back on them. I don't know, like Chloe kept them in with the freeze as well, but even from play she was scoring. A lot of their full forward was scoring. Like Jessie Morrissey was a serious threat in full forward that day as well. So, and their backs kept them in it as well. So, and I think they've pushed on since then as well. Like they were good that night, but I think they're after getting even better now as well. So it'd be interesting to see.
They even had red card as well in the last 10 minutes of that, and they really kicked on then. Like they really showed their hunger this year, which I think has been through the roof, in fairness to them this year. So yeah, it's going to be an interesting one.
Yeah. Then the Martins, I say, racked up a nice score against us as well, but we were able to get in on them as well, whereas we weren't with Glyn. We couldn't get in on goal at all. But we did against the Martins, whatever it was going through us that day. But yeah, no, I don't know, like they were.
Yeah, no, the Martins are good, and even like Glyn bet us by double their score. Glyn bet us by 14 points and the Martins then 7. So that's a big thing in itself. But the Martins, they have that experience, you know, they have that game management. I think when it comes to the big day, there's a lot of pressure riding on both of them, but especially Glyn this year, they're going to see that opening with Ciara gone, and they're going to have that pressure on them as well to kick on. So it's going to be a tough one to call.
Yeah, I think in that game, I think he's got a goal to bring it back to maybe a point or two even.
Yeah.
And it looked like Hughes had all the momentum, but they went straight down the field, and I think Letty got a goal.
Yeah.
And they just kept taking on points from there on, and
they have
just really closed out. Yeah, they really just like the.
See, that's the thing with them as well. They had that experience, and they've such a strong spine. Like they're so strong down the middle that they were able to get it back so quickly and pull it back. But sure, it came back to experience as well. Like we thought we were right ones getting a goal, and they thought nothing of it. Like
they
came
never
straight
panicked.
back. They never panicked. So that'll really stand to them now as well. Especially with being in the final last year as well. That's another good experience to bring on board this year. But I'd say Glyn now, if the pressure doesn't get to them on the day, I really think they'll kick on and they'll really put up to the Martins. But it's a big day. It can get to some people, so we'll see on the day, I suppose.
Yeah, definitely. Looked at Glyn were there in the final 2 years ago. That game was in Wexford Park. That was probably a big occasion for him, and they were definitely nervous on the day.
That was again on Sunday.
Yeah, but again, Owlers probably, I think it was 6 or 7 points in the end. Owlers were definitely that day. I think we were 12, 13 points ahead at one stage. They came back, they got a goal.
Yeah, they were coming back.
They were coming back. They coming back.
Yeah, and I suppose like that'll stand to them that they have been in a county final before, so they know they don't want to. You know, after working hard all year to get to a county final, and that's where every club wants to be. But I suppose they've the experience now being in one before, so it's not just about showing up on the day; it's actually making the day by going out and performing.
But obviously the Martins won last year, but I actually, from just looking in, I think there's more pressure on Glyn. Well, I think that, I don't know, maybe everyone thinks different, but there's a lot of talk about Glyn, and they're coming and they're the farm team and all this. So I think, I think there is a bit more pressure on Glyn. I think if, to a certain extent, if they don't get over the line this year, it's going to be very hard to come back. I think personally, from next year, yeah,
because I suppose in 2 years ago, when Glyn got Betty, I'd say Glyn, they would have just expected to be in a county final last year, and they weren't. So,
yeah.
And county finals don't come around too often. I know you have been in many. It's probably the first in a long time. Owlert, they've set the bar for Wexford Camogie, to be fair to them, over the years. And Glyn, yeah, I think Anya's right. They've been knocking on the door there for the last 5 years, and the pressure's definitely on them to, go and win it this year.
And then I think the other side of it is if they win one, it'll be quite hard to stop them winning a few more after it. Is the other one that the pressure is on them, and as you were saying, if they don't win one, it'll be hard to come back from it.
Yeah,
but then if they do win one,
because to be
I'd
fair
say
now,
take off then,
a lot of young people are wanting to go travelling and do loads.
Even one win will keep
no,
how many
and
even staying at home for
if
how
you
long,
don't to be and go, and then you take 2 or 3 players out of any team, it's hard to fill the gaps so. Yeah.
It's hard to come back every year then when you're losing and you're so close. It's hard to come back.
Yeah, like Chloe was away for the whole start of the year. She didn't play any of the league with them, I think, and she came back then for championship, and she's fresher than ever. Probably maybe the break did her good. She's flying. Like, but it was like Lara O'Shea missed. She actually missed starting last year too. She was away travelling. Like, they're very young side, and there's probably a few of them probably thinking about travelling maybe. And
then to win your first county final title, it is the hardest. I know, like we won our first county final back, I don't know how many years ago, but we had lost 5 county finals in a row before we even won one. So I suppose they need to just get out and do the basics and get, you know, the performance and not think about what anyone else within their camp. They need to just hold the focus and concentrate on the match itself, and, you know, not think of the big occasion. And, you know, it is a tough one to win the first one, but I suppose they're in that position now that they can win the first one, you know.
I think if they come out the way they did against you in the semi-final, they'll be in a good chance, because they really looked like they were up for it, and they were, to be fair to them. So I think if they do that again, they're in with a good chance.
yeah, no, definitely if they come out and start fresh, and they probably, I don't think the football to be worrying about either. Like this weekend, I don't think there's any football, so they're all coming into it fresh.
No idea.
Whereas,
I don't think the Martins could football either.
didn't the Martins play
No,
football?
the
this
Martins are in the relegation.
Yeah, the
I
Martins
think
had
so.
football, so
I know a
some
lot
might
of them
have
aren't
football.
playing, but like
I don't know if that.
still there lingering. And I think I'm nearly sure they're in the relegation. So it's not ideal, like, to be fair. And even like yourselves, like playing the two of them, like, it doesn't do either of them any favours really, like, because he can't be in the field every night either, like,
No.
you know.
Yeah, no, it doesn't. When if you're playing two goals, in fairness,
If you're young on you can.
like when we just go through, like the Martins are unbeaten in this championship. The Martins, the best ran Euro well the first day, 4-17 to 1-7. They bet Glyn the second round 13 points to 10, and then they finished with like Kilrush in 3-15 to 3-8. So they've scored 7-45 in the group stages.
I suppose that's interesting. The last match was 13 points to 10. Like, there was no goals got. So I think even on Saturday it'll be crucial to see who can actually get in and get the goals. You
The
know,
goals will win the match, like,
yeah.
I
Like,
just think that I'd
Like-
say I feel like the forwards for the Martins are probably a little bit maybe more dangerous than the Glyn ones. I just think on the day, like Lisa Farr and Emma Codd, like, are always good for a goal. Like Chloe could turn up and score 2-7 from play on a day. Like, you know, Linda Bulger runs everywhere. She's always everywhere.
Yeah.
Like Sarah could take off from centre back and sprint the whole way down the field and put it in. You know, there's that kind of go in the Martins, I think, and they have that confidence in themselves. Like Whelan could score a point from midfield if she wants to. And I just think maybe a little bit the Martins maybe have a little bit more of that than Glyn might. There's goal like in all of them, and they all want the ball.
Yeah, but then, like, I think a big thing will be the ref and how many frees. Like, it was a 13-10. Like, how many were from free? Like, how much were from open play? So I think that is the frees, and how many frees were scored, I think, will be a big thing if it's a tight match. Like, it definitely will.
Yeah,
You
like
know,
it-
who's reffing it?
if it was
Like, you need a referee that's going to allow it.
Let
Like,
the
they're
game
two
go,
good
like-
Camogie teams. They need to let it play, just let it flow, and like then at the end of the day, the best team will win.
yeah.
Like, and let there be scores from play.
Yeah.
Let there be the odd free or whatever. If
But
obviously if
hopefully,
there is,
yeah.
but. Like, I'd say the last two matches weren't much of a spectator sight, so
Because if it
Yeah.
stops starting as well, like, there won't be much goals either, because they'll be just tapping them over.
yeah,
from
tapping them
frees
over,
and
going
stuff.
the easy,
Yeah.
easy
I
option.
think we're voting for all these rules changes every year, but like it's more contact now and what you have to be over 16. Like, we're not playing underage camogie, like we're playing senior, and we're senior camogie players. But I think then you're nearly punished then for the more contact. On me, whoever's
yeah.
a bit
The back.
bigger, you're nearly punished for the more contact then. You know, I just think it'd be great, like, because they're both really good hurling teams and they're able to take scores, like, you know,
But
big
even-
scores from midfield, like, and it's just
Yeah, even if, like,
letting
the
it
ref,
flow.
like, I know it's not
Yeah.
easy refing and they're never going to win, but, like, even if they just play a bit of an advantage, like, let it just, if it is a free, like, just let them give the advantage and something might come out of it instead of blowing up a free. Do you know, like, let it go as much
because there's
as.
not that many going down. It'd be different if everyone was
No.
down and
Yeah.
injured, but it
Yeah.
actually keeps flowing, and
just
you're
let it
pulled
on a
back
bit,
for
yeah.
a free when you're kind of gone.
It's just you want someone that's consistent. Like, if you're going to do it for one side, you're going to blow it for the other. Just keep that consistency during the game, so you know what you're going to get away with or what you're not, and that's going to keep it flowing as well, and make for a really interesting final.
Yeah, no, definitely you want free flowing game. You don't want to be stop starting frees. Like, no one wants to see that kind of game. Like, at the end of the day, we're trying to promote the game, and if we have stopped start and we're looking back at it and the score is 13-10 again and they're all freeze, like no one wants that. Like, and that's,
like I think in the as the girls said, I know they were playing the Martins. Like I know all their scores were from freeze. Like I know, and it's a great skill for a free taker to be able to put over frames from any angle. But I think for a spectator's point of view, like you know, you'd like to go to a match and actually enjoy the match. That there's that free flow and there's you know, if there is a heavy tackle or whatever, as long as the players are alright, get up and gone with it. Like you know, but you don't want to be stop starting the whole time.
Yeah, you're after giving many tackles in your day.
She's always here beside me.
For like forwards getting into the game, like there's no point in one person taking the freeze, getting all the scores, and then the other 5 forwards not touching the ball, because it just makes no sense.
in regards to Glenbarntown then in the group stages, they Kilrush won 7 points, lost to Martins in the second round 30-10, and then they bet Rathnewer in the third round 216 to 1-6. So in their group stage they scored 344 in total, so they're getting the points up there as well. Obviously not as many goals. The Martins had 7 goals, Glyn had 3, but then when you go through into the knockout stages, Glenbarntown got the 2 goals last day, whereas the Martins have only got the 1 goal against Buffers Alley, and they got none in the semi-finals. So it's probably close neck and neck on scoring.
Yeah, and that's going to be down to the you know, the forwards on either end and how the backs are going to cope with the forwards. And I know the girls are saying about the Martins girls are doing a lot of running and a lot of moving. And in fairness, I don't think too many get goals in on Kate in your goal.
Yeah.
She's like an extra back for them. But so I think it'll be down to the forwards how they will try, you know, get in and get goals. And I think whoever team gets the goal on Saturday could be it could be the team that's lifting that cup, you know. So I think a goal either side is going to be vital. So.
And it'd be interesting to see, I suppose, I don't know in Camogie if it's as much, but like any kind of matchup of who's going to go on who, like, because Sarah and Chloe will be very good on each other. Like if someone's going to then pick up Chloe Fox or...
But will they put,
Claudia
like,
Jackman
will
is usually
they
a man
put
marker. Is Claudia
someone
Jackman going to be going on somebody?
on Sarah though? Will they try to take Sarah out of the game, like, or will they just, you know, or like there's so many
or
matchups
like
on
maybe
it.
Claudia and Linda. You wouldn't really
There's
know,
so
because
many.
they kind of do it in that way as well. So it'll be interesting to see, are they just going to go out with their kind of normal 15 that they play,
But
or will they actually...
They're 2 well balanced teams though too. Like, you know,
like just a lot of good players on both, like,
yeah,
so.
I suppose management on both sides can't, you know, you'd be worried about a lot on the other team and vice versa.
I think if Glyn marked the Martins, like, I'd say they'd be delighted, because they'll pull them all in and they'll leave so much space, won't they? Because
I don't think
you know, if they do though, I think the Martins will be delighted if
the Martins forwards, as you were saying, like the way that they run in the forwards kind of and find each other, they want to stay in their lines. I don't,
But if they went like Clodagh
follow.
was Mark and Linda and Roisin was Mark and Chloe Fox, they would love that, because they'd pull them in then and there'd be so much, but like the war trying to get the wings opened up, like, but we just stood out, and I'm like, but like the Martins would be delighted now, I'd say, if they were following around the field to a certain extent, like.
I think they'd be just a little bit. I think as well, because you forget Mary Claire there is like so experienced there wing back, like she can kind of, Ella O'Connor's doing a lot midfield.
Okay, like it's actually going to be very tight. Like when you look at both half back lines, like there's strong half back line as you would have on a county team nearly.
Well, like the Martins all over, I think there could be 12 of them that represented Wexford this year between senior, intermediate and minor. So like they all have experience, the Martins, like there's some like good names.
Yeah, when you go through the 2 half back lines, like in Martin's last day was Mary Claire Morrissey, Sarah O'Connor and Katie O'Connor, and then you go through Glyn, Becca Fannin, Laura Dempsey and Roisin Cooney, so
there's no weakness there.
There's no weakness there in any of them, like, and then midfield, like Aisling Halligan's gone out to midfield for Glyn. She was full back last year, and Claude Jackman's midfield, she was cornerback last year, so they've brought them out there.
Claudia was cornerback, was she not?
She marked an edit, you know.
I thought she was cornerback.
She came out, she came out, that's...
She was man marker.
She was man marker,
yeah. But they're having them out there, so you'll expect that they'll just put Claude on, either Chloe Fox or Linda Bulger. And
I think there'll be a few people with jobs, I'd say.
I do think they should stay with their style of play that they've been playing all year and not worry about the Martins too much, because it might get in their head a tiny bit. Like if they're worrying about who they're marking the whole time, they mightn't be able to play the whole game, which has been working for them all year. So I think maybe Claude will pick up someone, like she's serious man marker, but I think everyone else should just try and play their own game, because if they try and match with the Martins, they're not playing their own game and it mightn't work out.
Yeah, no, definitely. Look, it's probably like Glyn are the farm team coming into it. You go like even go, but just go back to last year. Like Glyn won the league final, bet the Martins well up in Davistown that night. Bet him at a canter. And
No one remembers the league final of it.
no,
But Lee,
Makes no difference.
but I'm just saying, like last year they won that league final. They came into the championship, were unbeaten. The Martins bet them in the semi-final, and like they were coming flying. Whereas this year played the league final, got bet. Like they'd won all up to the league final, out of the league final. This year they went out, got bet, but the championship already by the Martins, but they've come on since then. So maybe they're peaking at the right time compared to last year. Like they definitely peaked early last year, Glyn did.
Yeah.
Whereas this year they're peaking later. So I do think they're coming the right hitting form right at the right time.
probably after learning from the
They
last few
probably have
years.
to learn from last few
I
years.
do think last year as well that a lot of people after that league final were talking about Glyn coming, and they're coming and they're coming. I'd say it could have got to them as well. Like come the big matches, then could have got to their heads. You never know.
Yeah, no, definitely. Right, we'll make a prediction.
The hard part.
The hard part. Right, we'll start with Kira here beside me now.
I'm going to say the Martins. I just think they have the experience there, and I think they have loads of leaders everywhere on the field. So I just think the Martins are going to come back and win it again this year. Yeah.
I think it's going to be very, very close. I think either way it'll be a point or two in it, and I suppose it'll all depend on the day now who wants it the most and all. But I'd say I would be probably leaning more towards St. Martin's, and just for the fact that I think the Martins have been there, they know what it takes to win. I'd say like the girls threw it out, one of the best player, not just in Wexford, but one of the best players in the country. So I think that the girls will up it for her as well. So I think that's instead of being a negative, I think they might turn it into a positive, and so I'm going with the Martins.
I'm probably going to sit on the fence. I think there's going to be nothing between this. Like I think, like when you go through the two teams, like there's quality on both in every single line. So, like I think it could like be a mistake or something that could cause this. Like whether it's missing a free or someone like a bad pass and someone gets a score for. Like I think every point or every score will be major. Like so. I actually going to just go for a draw.
You're not allowed. Need extra time for the replay.
Yeah, look, as Anya said, like it's going to be a great county final, the two teams. It's a hard one to call. Like the Martins are on paper have unbelievable players, but I suppose looking at the semi-final, Martins, as you said earlier about whoever gets the goal, Martins didn't score any goals. Glyn scored 2, so I'm going to have to say I think Glyn could, pipe on the day. But look, it's going to be a good county final.
Yeah, I think the same. It's going to be a really good county final. If it's a free-flowing game, it's going to be a good spectacle. But I think on paper as well, the Martins probably are better because they have that more experience than Glyn. But I think if Glyn turn up like they did in the semi-final, they're really going to put up to them, and I'm hoping that they will, so that'll be a good match. But I'm going to give Glyn by a point. Chloe's going to get a last minute free. I'll stick it over. I'll give it to Glyn for a point.
I would have originally said at the start of the year Martins to go the full way, but watching Glyn in the semi-final and just even in the group games, they're dogged, like their determination this year has been really, really interesting. So I think it could go either way, but I give Glyn by 1 or 2 maybe. Yeah,
no, and look, I've seen a good few matches this year. I do think that Glyn have to learn from previous mistakes. I think they're probably peaking at the right time. Their team seems better balanced this year. Their bigger players are in better positions. Whereas like before they could have been out on the wings, or they're actually playing in the centre roles. But then you look at the Martins then, I know if Ciara O'Connor was down that 15, there'd be no question who we will be picking. Look, we haven't even mentioned Aoife O'Connor, who's missing as well. So I just think I think the Martins by a point or two, but it's going to be very, very close. It could go either way. And look, if it's a free-flowing game and we're getting scores, that's what I want to see. It just could go anyway. But as we look out here, the weather could that could be, if it's a smally day like that, like 10 points could win the county final. And that's the way it could be. So I'm going to just go the Martins by a point or two, but it will be very close. It could go either way. So that's
He always is out on the fence.
3 for the Martins, 3 for Glyn, is it?
A draw.
And Anya's a draw.
Couldn't decide.
So
She doesn't want to fall out with anyone.
I don't think any of us
Well,
do.
we wait till we get the result now, then we can talk.
Oh, we put money on it.
So look, that concludes us for tonight. Look, thanks to the girls for coming down. No, it's a bit relieved, but fair play. Just once again, the match is on, Kennedy Park, New Ross, 4 p.m. next Saturday. The Martins vs Glyn. So I hope you can get out and support the girls for what is sure to be a good county final. So thank you.